Hello, ladies. What's up, guys? Kenny Master here again. And this will be episode 2 of Star Wars Canyon. And this time, I'm in a helicopter. I'm going to tell you, this is probably not going to be my best video because right now I am in a lot of pain. Friday morning, I woke up and my shoulder was freaking killing me. And the pain goes all the way down my left arm and it's hurting, so I did not sleep very well. I woke up early, so I may have to pause and stop recording and go get some ibuprofen or something here if I can't make it. This is going to be about a 2-hour flight, so I thought let's fly a chopper just to try to get my mind off the pain. And we'll see how that goes. So, this flight here is, again, it's an undisclosed location because I don't want anyone stealing my idea. It's another one of those group flights that I mentioned in the last video that never happened. This was an idea that I come up with later on when I had realized that the group flights were probably not going to happen, so I didn't go ahead and make the custom scenery. But then the other day I did, like, I didn't put my best foot forward into it because it's in a remote area. And although it would have been really cool, the limitations of WED, I did not want to spend a lot of time on it just for me. But the thing is, it's an airport that it's a real airport. It exists in the real world, and I even found it it was on SkyVector a little bit, not much info, but it was on Google Earth, and I was able to find the pics or the view of it, and looked really cool. I was not able to do the whole thing, but at least it's there. It's something. It did not exist in the sim, but now it does. And I thought that it'd be better for chopper because it's a nice scenic area. It's about, according to SkyVector, it's 98.8 miles, but we're going to be winding, but that was going in straight lines. That's not following the curvature of the river. But this will take some time. It's just one of those chill flights. If I did this with the Corsair, like I did the other one, it would have been a lot shorter video, and you would have basically been seeing the same thing that I already did, which is what other ones will look like, but this will just kind of change it up a little bit. So this little lake right here to the left, or pond, whatever you want to call it, it shows on SkyVector, so that's one visual waypoint. This one's going to be tougher. When I first did this myself, I admit a long time ago actually, I was looking at the mini-map a lot, because in this one, this river, see how it just narrows up like this? So for a good chunk of it, it's pretty narrow. And then I would be looking for other rivers that join it, but they're not all in the sim. So some of my visual waypoints that I was looking for were not there. I am using real world weather, but custom daylight time. I set it for like noon, just to make sure I daylight. Anyway, speaking of the pain, like I said, guys, take care of your back because it will lead to so many other problems. You're going to be inactive, which will lead to more problems. Being inactive is largely how I got the bad back. So one health problem leads to another health problem, and oh my God, does it hurt. It goes in streaks, though. For the most time, it's manageable. I just deal with it. But then when it flares up, it's just like when you see it in like TV shows or movies. Like when I was a kid, it's like, oh, my back. And I'm like, oh, whatever, your back. And it's like, oh, but that's true. Like, you can be fine, and then boom, something happens. You pick something up or you sleep wrong and you pinch a nerve and you drop to your knees. It's no joke. It freaking hurts and it cripples you, like you have no strength. So take care of your back. It's also some filler talk. If you remember the last video, after about an hour, it's like I ran out of things to talk about. And then it got pretty boring. And I'm really going pretty slow. I suppose I could be going faster. Usually, a good cruising speed with this thing is about 70 knots indicated. Oh, just climb there. This is the Schweitzer S300 CBI for X-Plane 11. It's not the easiest thing to trim. Either I am horrible at trimming planes, or I am just really great at finding aircraft that don't trim worth a shit. Now, it just so happens that this Schweitzer, the Talon, and the Corsair are all aircraft that were ported over from X-Plane 10. And that has me wondering if maybe that's why they don't trim worth a shit. Maybe it is just me. I don't know. I can't believe I'd be that bad at it, but maybe I am. But nobody flies as things that I do, so I don't have anyone to compare it with. And here I am talking while I'm already kind of forgot where I am. I know I crossed that pond, but it is a little windy. And no, I'm not going to show the mini map and reveal my location so you guys can steal my freaking idea again. Say it's Twitch. That never happens. But I digress. So something I'm going to talk about right away, because I know most people are just going to watch like the first 30 seconds and then fast forward to the end and watch the landing. But I wanted to say this, something I learned. You learn something new every day on Twitch. Apparently, saying okie dokie is a Minnesota thing. I was in a Twitch chat, and someone made a comment like about me saying okie dokie on comms again. And I said I didn't even realize I said it. And apparently, and I know someone had said something a long time ago. This was in B-Dub's stream, because I think someone even might have even clipped it, where he had me confused. He said something that I didn't understand. This was early on, and I was like, okie dokie, and everyone thought that was funny. But apparently it's a Minnesota thing. I did not know that. I just assumed everyone said it, and there's different contexts in which you would say it, just like different contexts in how you say oofta or oof or whatever. It's not something you can choreograph. You can't plan it. It just comes out. So when and here's an example. So like when I hear from people, we've never heard of the term okie dokie. I hear that and I'm thinking okie dokie. Like that's a perfect situation where you would say it. It's like okie dokie. Like I did not know that. I just assumed everybody knew it. So there you go. You learn something new every day. Apparently it's a Minnesota thing. Which leads me to another point. Why is it guys think Southern accents are hot? Guys are suckers for accents. They are. Just look at Twitch. I admit, I am a sucker for a Southern accent. I can never get a Southern girl. I mean, we don't even have them up here, but something about that Southern accent, it's so cute. It's so adorable. That Southern draw. Yet, nobody thinks a Minnesota accent is hot. Right? Why is there not a line of chicks going all the way around the block waiting to get a piece of me if accents are hot? Nobody thinks my accent is hot. So, it's a bad thing to have a Minnesota accent. Apparently. Or, if chicks do think it's hot, they're just not saying it. Well, don't be bashful, ladies. You can tell me. It's not like I'm going to be going after you or anything. I'm not in a situation to be dating anyone. But I've never heard anyone say we think Minnesota accents are hot. People just make fun of them. Which I do the same thing with accents. Like that's why Minnesotans and Canadians go back and forth. And speaking of Canadians, my gaming buddies from old PlayStation Call of Duty days, that's where that picture Team MBK on my YouTube channel, that was when I went to Canada to visit my gaming buddies. They were in Manitoba, just south of Winnipeg. They didn't have an accent to us, and it blew me away. And my friend too, who lived a couple blocks away, was like, "Man, we believed in the stereotype. We thought every Canadian had that accent, but no, they sounded just like us. They said we sounded just like them. It was crazy." And then I have some cousins from California who were originally, I think, born in Minnesota, and then maybe a couple years later moved to Chicago. My aunt was a flight attendant for American, and then she was based in Chicago. So the kids all, I think 3 of the 4 kids might have been born in Chicago. But anyway, 3 of the 4 kids, they eventually moved to California, and when they would come back to Minnesota to visit, they would tell us they noticed an accent. And I'm like, really? Dude, how? You sound the same to me. And people from California in the Twitch community sound exactly the same as me, to me. But apparently you guys think we sound different. I don't get that. How can that be? So that's my filler talk here for a little bit. Yes, you gotta love the default mesh here. This area didn't exactly pick up all that great. Boy, I guess I could go faster. I'm doing, 60? I'm not paying attention to speed. I'm just sitting here talking. But that's the nice thing about this chopper. It's peaceful. You find a nice place, you just go low and slow and have fun. Because remember, guys, that's what this is all about. Having fun. And now I gotta find something else to talk about. Like, I suck at planning things to talk about. Except for that last little bit. That was kind of weighing on my mind. Like, it's not a big deal. It's just one of those things. Like, I really have an accent? It's like, it's a small world, but see, like Iowa Scotsman, I've watched his stream, but he sounds exactly the same as me, and he's from Iowa. I mean, we can't be that much different. But, yeah, see here, I'm still trying to get her trimmed, and there's times like I don't want to trim it. I'd rather just deal with having to constantly push forward, because when it comes time to land, to get the landing trim, I usually screw that up big time. Makes my landings worse. But on long flights like this, yeah, you do want the trim. And it's also hard because when you're constantly using the rudder pedals with the rotor to steer, then that your pitch then gets thrown out of whack a little bit. So if I was going in a straight line, then it would be great, but you still have to make adjustments with the stick and the trim, because also as you're turning, you lose the speed again, blah blah blah. And this chopper here, you can blame this chopper, because this is why I spent almost $400 on a set of rudder pedals. Why I bought those crosswinds, because I was like, man, my arm was killing me having to use the twist stick. Like, just doing a 30-minute flight, it would hurt constantly holding it, and I could never really trim the the yaw axis, and it's like, okay, if I'm gonna commit myself to flying choppers and I really want to have an enjoyable experience, spend the $400, buy the best set of rudder pedals, which people in the community, a lot of people are saying, yeah, the best ones are the crosswinds, so I got them. And let me tell you, it is nice. Still don't use them much for the planes, just on takeoff and landing, that's it. But the chopper, yeah, I'm using them all the time. Like right now, I'm not even bothering with the trim for the yaw. I just got them here, and that was the learning experience when I first got them. Like everyone had told me about that too. It's like when you first get rudder pedals, you're gonna have to adjust, because it's in your mind to use that twist stick. And I was doing that too. Like I was not using my feet at first. I still had that habit of using the twist stick, and then even when I was getting used to using my feet, I would still use the twist stick. And even now, there's times where I still find myself using the twist part, even though I haven't used it since I got these pedals. How many months ago? I don't know. It was last summer I got them. Whenever. But I still find myself doing that sometimes. It's that ingrained in my mind. And another reason, I guess, to do this is we can now, watch this. We can come back whenever X-Plane 12 comes out. Those trees are supposed to look better. Hopefully, auto-gen and the placement and the terrain, meaning, like the ground textures and everything. We have something to compare it to. You can look. Like when 12 comes out, we can do flights, and then come back and look at this, and if it really blows our minds away, hopefully we can come back and say, wow, we have something to compare it to. Okay, I don't know where I'm at. This one's hard, even when you go with just the general direction like I talked about in the last one. Don't go by all the bends in the river, which this one has a lot, but there are some spots where there's a general change in direction in terms of heading. And another problem with the choppers, you get used to flying a certain speed, right? With the Talon, I'm used to cruising at 500 knots indicated, and then I talked about this with the Corsair, that boom, and now I'm down to 185 knots indicated, and now here I'm down to 70 knots indicated. And if you're used to looking at a map and you're looking for a visual waypoint at 500 knots, you're doing 1/7 of the speed, so it takes you 7 times longer to get there, and that tends to screw me up in navigating. Just watch out for these power lines. And also, the sky vector is okay on this one, but it's also a pretty remote area, so there isn't a lot around it. So there's no cities, no towns to use that as a reference point. It's just bends in the river. There is one spot in here where I don't think it's a scenery bug. I think it's actually supposed to be there. It's a big hole in the ground, and I bet my thought is it must be a hydroelectric dam, and maybe it somehow picked it up. I could be wrong. It could be a scenery glitch, but I have a feeling that this area looks like there would be a hydroelectric dam. So it would make sense. Plus, you look at all these power lines in a remote area. If these are placed accurately, then that would explain why you would have them. Let's see, where am I going now if I'm heading backwards? Maybe I'm there. Sorry, I'm doing that thing again where I'm just talking to myself and not going to show you the map, so you guys are probably thinking, he's crazy, who's he talking to? And the chopper is I've seen people use VR in the chopper, and this thing is VR capable. That would help a lot, but again, I'm not going to spend money on VR. And these are like these views right here. These are the quick views. These are custom views, because the default view, when you looked right, your head would actually be above the window. So it was on that side. The left side wasn't so bad, but this side, like, horrible visibility looking off the side. So I'd be flying around looking for the airport, and then flying. I'd be all over the place with the chopper. So yeah, another perfect example of that song that I mentioned in the last video, "In This River" by Black Label Society. Wish I had the rights to that to play it, because it would be perfect for this. If I had a better voice and didn't mind singing a cappella in my younger days, I might have sung it for you, but I'm not going to do it because it's horrible. It's too late for me to quit smoking, kids, but it's not too late for you. It will ruin your voice. I just don't want to quit. And just like in the previous video, this one I'm so focused on the river, like, it's easy to miss things around you too. And I think with the chopper, I'm more focused on the river, more oblivious to my surroundings than I am with the plane, because I'm doing a lot more with the chopper. Man, I'm looking at the map. I'm like, I think I know where I'm at, but ugh. Hopefully, I turned the bit rate down in GeForce Experience. It was at 60. I turned it down to 50 to see if maybe that had a impact as to why I would quit recording. Because in that last video, I noticed having to piece together the 4 videos, the audio was behind the video at the end, and I was not going to redo it just for that. And yes, my drivers were up to date, and yeah, that was not a very smooth turn there. I have the pedals, but I don't have the best footwork yet and the best control of the chopper. Actually, I'm gonna take a little sip here. And no, it's not booze. It's pop, Dr. Pepper. I haven't drank since June of 2014. Unexpected roadblocks happen in life, detours. Had to stop drinking, but still smoke. That's one of the reasons I smoke too. It's like, well, if I can't even drink, it's like I gotta have one bad habit, right? I used to have multiple bad habits. I should be able to have one, but I do smoke less now that I live in the house. When I lived in the apartments, I smoked in the apartment, smoked a ton. Once I became a homeowner, it's like, I'm not going to smoke in the house. So then I had to bundle up and go outside where it's cold, or go outside and sweat my ass off in the summer. I'm just not as motivated to go outside as I was when I was in the house. It's like, I'm just sitting here. Oh, look, they're right there within arm's reach, and I don't have to go anywhere. And let's see, what I said I was just going to talk about something. So I guess that's how bad my short-term memory is. No, I don't have Alzheimer's. It's just Damn, I have a horrible short-term memory. To train, boss, to train. Oh, that one looks more like an Amtrak. And the other one was the other video is cargo trains. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. People seem to be afraid of helicopters. Yes, they are hard. You know, a lot of people said, "No, I've never tried one, and I'm not going to." And like, why not? You know, the Sikorsky, the default Sikorsky isn't that bad. I thought the tutorial was horseshit because there's only one tutorial, and it like has you hover in place. And I was talking with a bunch of people when I first got this in B7's Discord. So I was talking with B and Kim and trying to get pointers, and it just takes practice. You know, understand that we don't have the collective, which gives you very fine adjustments. You know, here I'm using a throttle wheel for my collective, which is not very accurate. If you guys have a throttle quadrant, I would think that would be more accurate, but I don't see why people don't give it a shot at least. You know, yes, it takes practice, and even if you do crash, like, just do the flight for something different. Fly low like this, get a different view, and who cares if you crash at the end of the flight? I mean, seriously, who cares? It's a game. There's no real world consequences, okay? We've covered this how many times? It's a game. You can respawn, right? We've all killed ourselves many times in the sim, but we're still alive in real life, so don't worry about it. And also, don't be afraid to ask for help. I've offered help to people from experiences I've learned. I've even told people, hey, if you want to get in a voice server, we'll share screens, and if I like whatever you guys go through, I can tell you I've been through. Let's see where I am. I've kind of lost track of where I'm at now. Which one is that? This river that branches off to the right here. I'm not sure which one that is. If it's that one, then I'm not as far as I thought I was. And it probably is that one. So, anyway, just give it a shot, guys. Don't be afraid to ask for help. There's people in Discord that'll go in there and work with you. Some helicopters are better than others. These little ones are harder to fly. The Sikorsky, as bad as I thought that was when I first got into it, after flying this thing, when I went back to the Sikorsky, I'm like, wow, that thing is easy. It's true what they say, the bigger the chopper, the easier it is to fly. That is very true, at least in the sim here. It's very, very true. This little dinky thing, these bubble canopy ones are a freaking bee to control. Let me see if I can do that's the external view. I'm not going to pan around because I would lose control. Even the pitch. Okay, so here's that hole that I was talking about. I don't think this is a scenery issue. I think this is either just a natural waterfall, but my guess is there's probably a hydroelectric dam here in real life. All right, because wouldn't it make sense? Doesn't it make you guys think? It would be a great location for it. When I look at the map, there's some areas that I could see would be the holding pond. But it would just make sense. Now, no, I have not gone down in there, and I'm not going to. Probably should have in the past, but I'm not going to do it now. This flight's will take long enough. But once you get down there, then you got to get out. And if you go straight down, if you've ever flown a helicopter, going straight down is not the easiest. Sorry. You know, so you see those houses. I don't know if that's a landing strip. That's not showing up on Sky Vector. Sorry, guys. It's a little dry in here. Minnesota gets very dry in winter. We get that high humidity in summer, and then we got humidifiers going in the winter. or if there really is a waterfall here in real life. I don't know, it would still look pretty cool. I doubt that road does that. You saw that car. That does not. I'm highly suspicious that that part is realistic. Oops. Okay, so here I'm thinking. So if you look at, here's where the canyon kind of starts. It wasn't at the beginning, but so if we would go to the left, then when I look at the map, it looks like it would be a direct path, you know, like there'd be a gap in the canyon that would give you full view of it, but it doesn't. There's a little bit of a hill you got to climb over. There's a couple spots that do that, and there was one spot I thought, should I continue following this river or should I hop on the other side of the canyon? Because what it does over there is kind of what happened in the episode 1, where my visual waypoints, when I would talk about those, there'd be a widening in the river, and that's basically what's on the left side of this canyon. There's multiple little canyons in here, but nothing would change. I would still be following a river that bends, and it would just get wider, and then I'd have to backtrack a little bit. So we'll just stay here because we still wind around in here, and we'll just chill. It's kind of boring, but also peaceful. And no, I don't look around. As much as I said in episode 1 about the plane, I mean, being horrible at looking, you know, side to side, I'm even worse. Which one is that? Maybe it's that one. So I'm even worse in the chopper. So that's where VR would come into play, but VR would make me sick, and I don't even really like the look of it. It looks neat, but it also looks kind of cheesy in some ways. I don't know how to describe it. But anyway, the money it costs, $400 or $500 or whatever, I'd rather spend the money on multiple monitors and have a wraparound view. I don't even want to get the track IR. People say they really like it, but I just have no desire to get it. So what's my heading? So I'm heading almost south. So which part am I on here? See, make videos and then talk. Ugh. I can walk and chew gum at the same time, but talking and making videos. So here, I focus so much here, I'm kind of already lost. And like I said at the very beginning, this one was harder for me to follow to begin with. And it's not like there's a lot of ways to get lost on this one. Not like not like in episode 1, but I still want to know where I'm at as much as possible. Sorry guys, my throat's really dry today. Anyway, something else to talk about. You know how I used to go by Solaris 2590 always? Well, I stopped doing that. I was searching for a military call sign. I tried a couple. I tried Killer 1, Loner 1, and then Guardian 1. And I wanted to use Killer because of my Call of Duty days, Natural Born Killers, we were Team MBK. And I thought, hey, let's keep with that theme, but I was having issues on comms, and then I would miss it when a controller would call me, if they would talk and queue up at the same time, like killer would get cut out and I would hear one. And I thought, well, okay, maybe let's try to get something maybe a little bit longer, or enunciate a little longer, and then maybe I'll hear better. So then I switched to loner one, thinking it might be a little more distinctive, and then I switched to guardian one, thinking there'd be a little more emphasis on the guardian, but no. And I tried that for a while. I thought that one was going to be a keeper, but then I ran into the same problem, missing calls, and I don't want to be that guy. And if I can trace it back to the call sign, then okay, because remember, there's only one number. So if the first half of the word gets cut off and I don't catch the word, there's not even a distinctive number. So like if someone had cut off Solaris and 2590 was not a common number, it was distinctive to me, so I would still hear it. One was not enough to stand out for me, because like I would get, a lot of times controllers would assume that SOA was Southern Airlines, which is SOO actually, but I would get called Southern 2590. If someone said Southern 2590, I was oblivious to it. Like you would think that at least the 2590 would catch my attention. No. So they'd be like Southern 2590, Southern 2590, and then eventually, after a couple times of like hearing Southern 2590, I'm like, oh, do you mean Solaris? And like, yeah. So like I could be completely oblivious to that. So anyway, I found a new one that was not there was a list of like actual military call signs, and that's where I was using killer and then loner and then guardian. Those were all real life military call signs, and I was trying to come up with one that was unique to me. So I came up with malicious one, and like that was not in the registry, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go with this. Now how can I shorten it up to 6 characters? Because you have 7 characters in which you can do it, so if you want to use one number, you got 6 letters to do it, so I just shorten it up. So now I think I'm going to stick with malicious one. That's my new call sign. SOA 2590, Solaris 2590 is dead, buried, will not be resurrected. Hopefully I can stick with malicious one, and we'll work on getting 1,000 hours with that call sign. It took time to get 1,000 hours with Solaris 2590, which it was catchy, but I think malicious one, it's catchy, it's badass, unique. And I was flying last night, and a controller who knows who I am, I called him up, and like, so some people, apparently people recognize my voice, but he said he called me up. He's like, yeah, I looked at that T-38. He said you got a different call sign, because I'm the only guy who flies that. And I was like, yeah, you like it? And he's like, I do. So that was pretty cool. I was like, if a controller thinks if they like it, if they think it's distinctive, well then that means it is distinctive. So I'm more likely to hear malicious one, and it's also 3 syllables as opposed to 2. Which is something I was also contemplating. It's like, well, do I need more syllables? Do I maybe need 2 numbers? Maybe I should not be using 1. Should I pick a different number? Like, when I was like, should I do Killer 3? Because there's a Killer 3 arrival into Minneapolis. But I thought, it may not be a good idea. 1 just sounds that's just the sort of the standard. You're the lead plane. You're loner. You're malicious 1. So. Yeah, I better start paying attention here again, because I have no idea where I'm at. I know I'm heading south. Now I gotta look for something distinctive on the map there. I'm heading left a little bit here, and then something comes from the right. I tried doing the airspray mod with this thing, but didn't get very far. I gave up on it pretty quick because we never did anything. I remember when the airspray mod first came out. Well, actually, here's a good story, something to talk about. So the reason I got this chopper is I was watching a stream. This actually goes back a couple of years, probably 2 years already. they were showcasing, the streamer was showcasing the airspray mod, and the dev was in the Twitch chat, and it looked really interesting. And so I was asking him, this would be, I fly the Corsair, but this looks like it'd be fun with the chopper. Like, okay, can you recommend one? So he said he recommended the Schweitzer because this has a version, a livery with the boom, a spray boom. And then I was told by other, because I'm very ignorant to the choppers, and then someone told me after I bought it, I was like, oh, well, you do like a good challenge. And I'm like, uh-oh. So yeah, this was not really the best starting chopper. But that's how I found this. But never really did anything with the airspray mod, because the reason I got it was there was talk in that stream of us doing group stuff with it, with the airspray mod and helicopters, but that never happened. So, and that was also a reason why I got into making some custom scenery, although it's not pay or quality. I know that, I never said it was. It motivated me to make custom scenery to get the image of farm fields, because you don't really have that. Whether it's this or even Ortho, it probably does a better job at that, but the default. So I went in to create these farm fields in areas that I grew up, that I knew the area, so to be, I can make it more detailed because I know what it looks like. But then we never did anything. But I did have fun flying the chopper, so that's how I got into choppers. That's sort of the filler talk. If it wasn't for the airspray mod, I don't know if I would have gotten into choppers. In X-Plane 12, there was a video that, or maybe it was either a video or an article or something, that there's going to be a default chopper. Was it the Robinson 44 or something like that? Was going to be the default chopper. It'll be interesting to see what that's like. I'm looking at the map. I wonder if maybe that's where I'm at. So it kind of sucks. There's a spot here on the map where there's water to the left, but it's on the other side of this canyon. See? That hill. So unless I go over there to look, I just have to guess here. I wonder if maybe I'm there. Another thing about the airspray mod, you gotta have good eyes, because you gotta be low to the ground. I don't think it counts if you're above 20 feet AGL. You gotta be really, really low, and I struggled with that with this. And I tried the Corsair because it works with any aircraft. You can also fly fires with it, which I never tried, but that was something I really struggled with. And so I gave up, because like I said, if we're not going to do anything as a group, then I'm not really going to enjoy this myself. I'd rather just fly around. Doing stuff like this. I've done this. I think I started off flying this thing, like the first urban setting. I would fly with AJ, flying around the cities, following Interstate 94, 694, 394, 494, 94, if I said that, Crosstown 62, and then 55 going south of the cities. There's a lot of interstates up in the Twin Cities Metro. And then I found the heli routes. There's a bunch in Boston, so was she. That gave me motivation to fly the chopper. There's a couple heli routes in Detroit where Merides controls, so I could fly there. LA has some, yeah, and LA, Oakland, so with dubs, and they're okay, I guess. But they take me to a place where I guess I don't really want to go, if that makes sense. Like, there's other highways I'd rather follow. New York has a bunch. You got New York, Boston, DC. New York and DC, you can actually go between the two of them. those are pretty fun. But New York, that's the complex one. And not going to lie, the scenery in X-Plane 11 makes it hard to follow some of those. I'm not sure which one that is. Yeah, I think that's that right there. I hope. I think that's where I'm at. But that was something we never did either. Something that kind of pissed me off. Sorry to keep dwelling on this, but I had started working on some scenery that I found in New York to do a heli route, and then stopped because I realized we were never going to do anything with helicopters. But it would have been perfect for a helicopter group flight. Absolutely perfect. And it would have worked out great because we could have hit up a bunch of people in the community that we know are New York controllers, and everyone could have gotten a piece of the action, and we all could have had fun. But I digress. So now I'm heading east. Okay, that should be a clue. Should be a bend in the river that, if it made me go east, which bend in the river would that be? Maybe I'm not as far as I thought. Oh, man. Okay, sorry, my arm is starting to hurt more. Like, this is a sort of back pain. So it was my shoulder, but then it goes into my neck, like the back of my neck, my trapezoids, all the way down to my wrist. So, like, my tricep, my forearm, my wrist, and then even to my hand. Like, it freaking hurts. Not kidding, guys. It freaking hurts. And taking ibuprofen every 4 hours, extra strength Tylenol every 6, and maybe an hour or 45 minutes away from being able to take some more ibuprofen. I'm not sure how far into this I am. I'm getting kind of paranoid. Yeah, checked it. It still says I'm recording. Because remember that last video, it stopped recording after like 15-20 minutes. So if lowering the bit rate from 60 to 50 made the difference, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. That'd be awesome. So see, like right now, I just let go of the stick right now, and leaning a little bit to the left. It slowly goes to the left, but if I trimmed it to the right to get it flat, well then as soon as I make a turn in the river, well then what's the point? So doing this type of flying, really just get your pitch down and get the roll pretty decent. You're always going to be rolling, and using that rudder or the yaw, whatever. I keep calling it rudder even though it's not. I know it's a tail rotor, but I just keep calling it rudder because it's rudder action, yawing action, whatever. So like I was saying earlier, guys, hop in a chopper sometime. You'd be surprised at how much you learn about flying when you do try different things. And I should not be the one to talk because I don't fly a lot of planes. I've started off flying the Corsair, then the Tucano, then the Talon, and now this. I mean, I stick to one aircraft and fly the shit out of it. But I do get around and yes, I was horrible at choppers. I was afraid to get in choppers too. But when I had a reason to get into choppers, and it's like, let's just do it. Let's give her. Let's stick with it. And there you go. I mean, just find some motivating reason to do it. The worst part is going to be your landings. And even your takeoffs. You gotta got to get used to using the yaw in order to stabilize it and keep it from going around. Then the collective, being able to have very fine-tuned adjustments on the collective is very, very important. And that's where a lot of us struggle, is because if you don't have that fancy throttle quadrant that gives you very fine-tuned adjustments, you're going to struggle even more. Probably not doing the best job. I could probably be lower. But like I said, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can't talk and make a video at the same time. See, there it goes. The train. The train, boss. The train looks like a passenger train. I'm also not going to change my altimeter because, well, eventually I will. I'll get over to the map. If I find a weather station on Sky Vector, I'll do it. But right now, I'm not worried about the altimeter. You see how we're getting somewhat canyon-like. Another thing this reminds me of is that movie, A River Runs Through It. God, that's an old movie. It was one of Brad Pitt's earlier movies. Oh, and then that guy that was in The Program, he was in, what was that movie with what's his name? Oh, he was one of those 80s heartthrobs guys. I think Mary Stuart Masterson was in there. She played Watts. Eric Stoltz. Eric Stoltz. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. What's the name of that movie? It wasn't Can't Buy Me Love. It wasn't She's All That. Oh, God, so much know it. But the guy that Leah Thompson was dating, the football star, the popular guy, like, he was in that movie, A River Runs Through It. Tom Skerritt was in it. Just the title of that movie reminds me of that. Okay, getting into some trees here. Now imagine if this were X-Plane 12, how those trees would look, and I wonder how my computer is going to handle that. Because he said swaying trees, and those videos, it looked like it showed the needles of pine trees and stuff. See what I mean about, like, not looking around. Like, I don't really get worked up about looking up and stuff. I really do have, like, tunnel vision when I'm doing stuff like this. Whereas if you had the VR, you could look around more. And I know other people who are more coordinated, because I'm very uncoordinated, who would be able to look around and fly better and give you a better view than what I can. But that's not really the point. I guess for me, it's just focusing on the river, because I said that in episode 1. It's like you focus on the river and whatever visual waypoint you can. and just have fun. It's more about maneuvering and learning aircraft. That's another thing about this. You really learn how to handle the plane or the chopper or whatever. You can hone your skills. And like I said, it's peaceful. You know, I mean, like I talked about, like, you know, the hum of the prop on the Corsair would put me to sleep, just like a tractor would. Well, here you got the hum of the prop here. I had to turn the volume down, the master volume down to like 30% or something, because it's actually, you turn it up all the way, this thing will make some noise if that's what you like. And plus, it does have the option to, you get like the earphones in the chopper, you know, to like deafen it, the sound a little bit. And it's a difference if you take them off, but it's still loud. And that's kind of a migraine trigger for me. So I'm like, you know, I'm sitting at home, so I'm always like gonna try to keep the lights off, volume down, to minimize the triggers. This might be a clue here. I wonder if are we having a big change in direction here? Or maybe we're turning right, and then it kind of looked like it was going to be going straight there for a little bit. So now I'm looking at the map, like, what would that be? It doesn't, like, we're heading south right now. What would be going on over there around this bend that we start heading east a little bit? Boy, I sure hope I'm following the right river. I know I am, because we've found that big hole with the waterfall. So that was the right way. Well, yeah, I know, and you guys are probably thinking, Jesus, Kenny, you've done this. How do you not remember? Well, easy. I have a horrible short-term memory. Long-term memory is pretty good, but if it's not something memorable, then I'm not going to remember it. If I'm really focused, like, there's just a lot of things. I compartmentalize things that I really need to know. A lot of stuff is like I said, I'm not focused on remembering the layout of the river. I'm focused on certain key points. That's what I'm looking for. Because I've kind of wondered that too. It's like, I've told people I've done this multiple times, yet I'm always talking like, where am I? What am I looking for? And then like, well, Jesus, shouldn't you know? You've done this half a dozen times. So, shit, I've flown to airports on VATSIM in the sim dozens of times, and I'm still looking at the map like, wait, where am I? It's not like I got a DME here. I mean, I could. There's a Garmin on here if you want to use it, but I don't. Someday I've thought about that. Do I want to try filing Slant Golf? And then, because there are some heli routes, arrivals, that if you have GPS, you know, you may, I think they all require GPS. You can use an arrival to get in there, but I just don't want to do it, because I'm using my stick, and like to try to use the Garmin, I hate the way that the layout of that thing. If I had like a physical one, like Denise has a 530, like if I had a physical one, that'd be a lot easier. But right now I'm focusing more on the F-16, which I have figured out the INS. I think I figured out the TACAN, but there was something about that. So navigating VOR to VOR, not a VORTAC, but a VOR DME. And I asked a question in the forums I didn't check yet before I loaded it up to make sure that I understood it right, because I wrote that in Discord. It's like, okay, I think I figured it out. Last where I figured something out by accident, and I had it figured out, but then it turned out I didn't understand what, even though it worked, I didn't understand what I did to get it working. So I want to make sure that I completely understand that. And then I gotta get the speed control on that thing down. That is the hard part about that plane. The INS is a lot of work. Plugging in those coordinates, a lot of work. So, you know, either maybe not. Oh wait, maybe that's where I'm at. A little bit there. Yeah, this might be that. Maybe. Turned left and then right. No, wait, that wouldn't be it, because I should be. If that were it, I'd be taking another left, not another right. Oh well, at least there's nice scenery, right? My horrible navigating. Yeah, like I said, this one doesn't have breakaway canyons like episode 1 did, where I could look for those for visual references. This one, like I said, there are other canyons, but there's not like a direct route. Like you have to go over the hills, and like nothing distinguishable. It really pops out and says, "Yes, turn here," or "Hey, I am a waypoint." There we go. Now that's a cargo train. Now this little island here would probably show on the map if I zoomed in on the map close enough, but I'm not going to. So here's the weird thing about the chopper. Right now I've slowed down to 60 knots, but I still feel like I'm going fast. The thing about the chopper, when I'm hover taxiing, like it won't even register a speed, and it feels like I'm going 50 knots or something. It just always feels like you're going so fast when you're that close to the ground. And then sometimes you do. Like I try hover taxiing, I think I'm at 10, 20 knots, and then boom, all of a sudden I'm at 50. That's what I mean by having that good fine-tune adjustment on the collective. And you can buy a collective. Verpel makes one. That's a couple $100. There's another place I looked at. I know Smitty has one. I never asked where he got it. He must really fly choppers a lot if he spent the money on it. I know he said his wife had to approve it. But yeah, that would be pretty sick, and I would imagine that would really help if you got the money. I just spent $1,800 cutting down a freaking walnut tree. It sucked, but it had to go. It was like back in my house. There's like 3 sets of power lines where it comes across. So there's a dirt alley back there. Then the power line comes across the alley to my pole, and then it splits off into like the houses next to me, and then even houses across the street. So there's like 3 sets of power lines that branch off, and this tree was growing up right in the center of them. So that was, plus it was huge. It was a short fat trunk, but tons of branches. Lesson, guys, don't plant a freaking walnut tree. If you're in town, plant evergreens. Seriously. Or even if you're out in the country, don't plant a deciduous tree next to a freaking house or a power line. It's the dumbest fucking idea. Just plant an evergreen. Deciduous trees belong out in the woods, but in an urban setting, man, just plant a freaking evergreen. You're gonna regret it. You got the fucking leaves. You gotta trim them. It adds up. Like, yeah. And then I see people plant little things like, oh, this is gonna look so pretty. Yeah, okay, wait 20 fucking years. When it becomes a problem, you go to sell the house, someone's gonna be looking at it, it's like, something's gotta be done about that tree. Clogs your gutters. Ugh. Like I said, not that I have anything against trees. I mean, we had a wood stove in the farmhouse. I mean, I loved going out in the woods with the 4-wheeler. We hunted. Cut a lot of trees for firewood. It's just they should not be next to a house. They should not be next to any building. And in town, plant a coniferous tree, not a deciduous. Coniferous, the trees with the needles. Plant those. Spruces, evergreens, cedars, pines, those trees. Well, I've been going for a while. Maybe I am, because for a while there I said I was heading east. If I did, then I was really not paying attention. if that's where I was. I thought it was farther north. Yeah, and I was looking at the map and I didn't really follow the curvature. Okay, I'm getting paranoid here to... Yeah, still recording. Wow, if this whole thing records without it stopping, make a mental note of that, guys. In GeForce Experience, if this whole thing records without stopping, then that should tell you right there, record at 50 megabits per second bit rate or whatever. That might have been why I think kept stopped recording. It was like freaking stupid because that created more work. I mean, it's not that hard to go into Windows video editor or whatever. It's a default program. I didn't need to download OBS or any video editing program. It was just right in Windows. It's fairly easy. It just took time to, you had to join it, and then it had to render it or whatever, upload it or whatever, and then I had to upload it to YouTube, and then it had to render there. I had to let that first video go all night. It took time. And my internet is about, I think, is it 50 or 60 megabits per second. It's fiber optic. It's a small town, but the cable provider here, it's a rural area, but they control a whole bunch of small towns, and they invested in fiber optic. The previous town, then 2 towns north of here where I lived, that was a big company, but they didn't have fiber optic yet, which I thought was like, wow. Now, I did have cable for the first year, like the cable TV, you know, but I cut that just to save the money because it was adding up. But even that said, with 50 meg and fiber optics, still took time. Maybe my computer, I got the i7-8700, and they say that's where you want the i7s and i9s is for video editing and rendering and stuff. But whatever, just let it run all night. No biggie. I am kind of going crazy here. This is very peaceful, but I am not paying attention to my surroundings. Like I said, this one is very pretty, but not much stands out. There's a couple rivers that join this, little streams that show on Sky Vector, but those ones that half the time don't show up in X-Plane. And when I do see them, I'm not sure if that's it or not, because I'm not sure how long I've been flying. Like I said, with the chopper at 70 knots, everything goes slow. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to be looking for some little islands, like back a ways. There's that one little island in the middle of the river. There's a spot coming up where there looks like I think there's 2 islands, and it looks like we might be heading that direction. Maybe that one was one of them, and I'm going slow. I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for. Contour here. I wonder what X-Plane 12... I hope X-Plane 12 does a better job of how with the mesh. And I also hope... They've already said they're not going to give us the mesh, like, for going into Chinese editor, which kind of sucks. Because it's like, dude, anything... A lot of airports that I find next to me, they seem to be next to water. And when I want to put down my terrain, and when I mean terrain, it's the picture image. So you get the... Do you want, like, a grassy looking area? Do you want a woody, desert looking, you know, like the stuff that's underneath the trees? Those are terrain files in Giants Editor. They're not without the mesh. It's to butt it up against water. Either you have like this, it looks like a sheet of paper going out into water, or you leave it away from the water, and then it just looks ugly because you got that seam. And then you got the default terrain between your terrain and the water, and it's like, oh. And then there's no nodes to connect to. It's like, that was something that pissed me off. I was hoping they would have like made it easier to do that shit. And I don't know if I don't think he said anything about Giants Edit, if there's going to be any changes. That's something I was looking for. From what people have said, there's not going to be any changes. Maybe there'll be an update, but like feature wise, it's not going to be the stuff that we've been wanting. But whatever. I'm not big into it. Like I said, I completed 10 airports. A couple of them I didn't complete. If you want to count the one I made for this, that's 11 that are complete. But I don't know. For the amount of work that goes into it, it's not worth it. Not for me. It does make me wish I had paid attention when I was going to college. I didn't take college seriously because they were teaching stuff that I was like, when are we going to use this? And so I had to take a semester of SolidWorks, and we were supposed to do a whole bunch of stuff, which is a very cool program. It's a very powerful engine. That's what the instructor used to say. It's very powerful, which is true. It kicks the shit out of Blender. It was very easy, but I deleted it off my computer a couple years ago because it's a big file, and I was like, it was easy to make stuff there. But even then, it's like back then, if I was into flight simming, and then I would have had motivation to get into it, but I didn't. The only thing I really tried when I was in college, back from 2011 to 2013, I was in my 30s, was English. That was the only thing I really enjoyed. The rest of it, like, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, so I just basically did what I had to. But whatever. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't use it, you lose it. So I don't remember much of it. I just remember it being easier than Blender. But had I known about flight simming back then, or even farm sim, which I didn't discover until like 2014, didn't get. If I had those hobbies back then, who knows what I would have done. But at this point, I really don't care. I'm not going to take the time to learn it. And even if I did know it, is it worth the time? You're going to get the money out of it. You have to enjoy it. It's one of those things. I did not enjoy 3D graphic design. It was just not fun. Like I said, maybe things would have been different. Hindsight is 2020. At the time, I was really into playing video games and Call of Duty, hanging out with my buddies, going to the bar and partying, living it up. Because, this was still, a couple years after getting out of the parents' house. It's like, yay, I have freedom. So I was trying to live it up. So I wasn't really focused on that. I just wanted to have fun. I probably at that time I wouldn't have considered it fun. Probably not. I don't even know what SolidWorks would be like right now, because we had SolidWorks 11. We didn't use AutoCAD. I know that's another one. We had the student version of SolidWorks, but it was pretty intense. A four. There we go. Well, it stopped, so I had to restart it. So there we go. We found out that no, I cannot make this whole video at once. So, but maybe that setting did make a difference. But anyway, I was talking about SolidWorks or whatever. I don't know. So I'm kind of lost. I don't know how much it cuts out there. Okay, wait. This might be one of those islands. And I don't know if this is the first or the second. Remember, we passed one a ways back. I don't think that was the first because these look closer together. But yeah, it's a clue. Nobody let me know in the comments in that last video. I actually had like 6 or 7 views for episode 1. People must not have watched the whole thing, or just didn't want to type, because I had asked people, I was like, if you're still here, let me know in the chat if you're still here and at what minute you were still here, or if people really are just watching like the first 30 seconds and then going to watch the landing, and then the data from YouTube pretty much confirmed that what I already knew, that I'm making this long video just so people can watch the first 30 seconds and then fast forward to the landing. What the hell's going on here? Okay, now that's fucked up. That was just like a little 5-minute section and then it stopped. What the hell? I didn't Google that after the last one. Why GeForce Experience stops recording? It just makes more work. Now I gotta join those 2 freaking videos. Or 3 clips now. And we're not even done. Oh yeah, next plane 12, we're all supposed to have moving waves. I wonder if that's only going to be for oceans or if it's going to be for smaller rivers like this. Because you see, you get into the really small areas, it's just painted on. And whatever. I'm not going to be that fussy about it. I'd rather have better looking terrain and the ability to join it with the water than the actual water moving, I guess. Maybe we better pay attention to my altitude here with these power lines. Sorry, we're at that point in the video where I got nothing to say. But like I said, you guys probably aren't watching this anyway. You just watch the first 30 seconds and then go all the way to the end. But I do this just to prove a point, in case anyone actually does want to watch the whole thing and see if I really did it. I guess ultimately what I'm looking for, if we go past the airport, there will be a good sized river on the left side joining this one. Okay, looks like we got another. Which one would this be? Alright, GeForce Experience, this will gotta join. 4 little clips, and they were anger. Just that area where I had those. Oh, which direction am I heading here? 150? Yeah, might be, because it does kind of happen going to the east a little bit. I'm trying to get the map pulled up, see if there's a spot further down where it does that, because I know further down there's more little islands, so we could potentially be further than what I'm thinking, but I don't know. Wait a minute, which river is that? I don't think that's Alright, fucking A, David. Seriously. It stopped again. Why? What is up with these little freaking clips? Damn it. Okay, that might have been that river. If you saw it back there, that might have been the river I was looking for. But I am. It was. And I'm. Maybe. Oh, remember when I said in that last video, it's like, should I go back and double check? Or am I just further up? Which river would I have joined there? You know what? I think it was a different river. When I'm thinking about all these islands are not showing up down by that river. Yeah, I think I know where I'm at now. I think I was up there. And of course, looking at the map, not doing a very good job of following the river here. Sorry. So now if I wanted to confirm this, I would fly over the hill to my left and look for that waterway, because that widening in the river on the other side, because about this area, that widening of the river, not much further, that widening of the river starts narrowing up again. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the spot I'm looking at on the map. There should be a hard break to the right coming up. Not quite 90 degrees, maybe like 70 or 80 degree turn for a little bit. Oh, sorry. And adjust myself a little bit in the chair. Shoulder's doing okay. It's time. Should be time to take ibuprofen. I did a lot of stretching today, this morning, and it freaking hurt. But maybe I'm finally getting over it. Another thing about these rudder pedals, and I keep forgetting to look into this chair. So I've got like this Homel gaming chair. Swivel's really easy, but that's bad when I got these rudder pedals, because the pedals, when I turn the pedals, they then turn the chair too. Alright, fucking A, David. Seriously, you're pissing me off. Someone remind me. Someone ping me in Discord if you're still watching. Kenny, look into GeForce Experience as to why it stops recording. It's fucking annoying. If I didn't have to fucking render all these little things, it would be a lot easier to just upload one video to YouTube that would take 10 hours, but it takes time to fucking render all these little clips together. It's like, fuck. And no, I don't want to get OBS, because one thing leads to another. You get OBS, and I was like, well, I might as well start streaming. No, I don't want to stream. No, I don't want to make a shitload of videos. This is just supposed to be a little freaking fun. If I actually get like 7 episodes of the Star Wars canon thing, I'd be surprised, but you'll learn the title. I got to come up with a title for the segment. It'll be Star Wars Episode 2, whatever. I'm not sure what to call it. Have an idea, but I got to think about it more. Like when I was in college, like I said, I loved English, but I would get writer's block, and I would always wait to the last minute too. So like, if paper would be due on Monday, I would basically wait till Sunday, and I'd spend all Sunday afternoon and Sunday night writing it. I'd write for a little bit, because I'd spend the week coming up with these ideas, having an outline, and then I'd write it Sunday, a little bit here and there, and then I'd watch football because I had cable in the other town, or baseball, whatever, and I always keep going back to it, and I aced the shit out of that class. I did great at English and technical writing. Yeah, didn't I say that eventually I was looking for a sharp bend to the right? This might be it. I'm sorry guys, I got nothing. This is again one of the reasons I don't stream. It's boring. But it's also fun. It's boring but fun. It's peaceful. I'm focused on the flying. So when I say boring, it's probably a bad choice of words, but I don't know what else to say. It's boring for you guys to watch, but when I fly it, it's fun. But trust me, we will get there someday. She's just taking her slow. I'm not even 70 knots. Not quite 70 knots indicated. It's my ground speed. 58 knots ground speed. Yeah, got a little bit of a wind there. Headwind. Probably higher than I need to be. Sorry, at this point, I'm like not paying too much attention to my altitude, just flying, just being in the moment. Not falling asleep, but tired, but like I said, peaceful. Just going along, chilling. See what I mean? I was saying about the chair moving, like I just had to move it back again. Didn't realize that. And again, this is just a part of Sky Vector that is not really showing the best. Part of the world that doesn't show the best. I mean, not that it shows up that great anyway. I mean, it depends where you're at. Like, more congested areas, you get some better references than what you do out in the middle of nowhere. Still awake yet? Time for that surprise symphony. Yeah, and I think where we are now, if we went to the other side of the valley, or other side of the canyon, that one I think would just be narrowing up right about now, I think. If I was flying in the Corsair or the Talon, I'd probably hop over there just to show you what I'm not doing with the chopper. This thing is slow, especially when climbing. She's not a speed demon, which I know is kind of weird, because I love flying the jets, like the Talon. The Corsair, you might think that's slow, but compared to the Tucano, it's fast. You get the Corsair up to flight level 280 with the wind. I mean, I've had that thing close to 400 knot ground speed. She'll go. But the Tucano, that thing's just freaking gutless. It's a turboprop. This here is a piston. It's a 4-cylinder piston. Sorry, here I'm looking at the map. I see we got a bend here. See what I mean? Like right there, like that road, like how it just kind of points up. That's what I mean about the mesh, things like that. This might have been that little widening right there on the map. Have an idea of where we are now. I mean, I found those islands back there, yeah, but no. A little bit further, so we got it. Yeah, we're getting close, guys. Hang in there. Hang on to the landing, and then you can see what I mean about the trim. Coming out of cruise and then getting her trimmed for landing. So forward visibility on this chopper is another reason I like it. These bubble canopies, great forward visibility. But like with the stick, if I'm constantly looking down, so like the field of view, you don't get peripheral vision in a sim, and I hate it. And you wouldn't even get that in VR. That's another reason why I'm like, why invest in VR? I'm not getting peripheral vision. You see people looking down all the time, and it's like doing the same thing that we're doing with our joysticks, but with your head. If I spent $500 or something, I'm still not getting the effect that I want. Even if my head could take it, I'd still rather the pullers and have the wraparound effect. But even if I had the wraparound monitors, I would still have this thing where the peripheral vision of up and down. So I would eliminate the side-to-side peripheral vision thing by having the wraparound monitors, but the up and down would still be there. And although in the plane that wouldn't be a big deal, in the chopper it's a bigger deal when you come in